I took a DNA test as a joke and uncovered my entire family was a lie. It started at a birthday party. My best friend Kelly had taken one of those ancestry DNA tests and spent the whole night talking about her Viking roots. I was tipsy on cheap wine and thought it would be funny to see if I had any surprises in my bloodline. I ordered the kit online for $60, spit into a tube, and mailed it back without a second thought. 2 months later, I forgot I had even taken it. Then the email arrived on a rainy Tuesday morning. Subject: Your results are ready. I opened it while eating cereal, expecting to see a pie chart of European percentages. What I got was a notification that my results had been flagged for an unusual finding. I clicked through the dashboard and found a section labeled Close Family Matches. At the top of the list was a name I didn't recognize, Marcus Webb. Beneath his name was a single word that made my cereal bowl slip from my fingers: father. I stared at the screen for maybe 10 minutes. My father was Richard Calloway. He raised me. He taught me to ride a bike, walked me down the aisle at my wedding, held my daughter the day she was born. Richard Calloway was the only father I had ever known. I called my mother immediately. She didn't answer. I called again. Voicemail. I texted her, screenshot the results, and typed, "Who is Marcus Webb?" She replied 20 minutes later with a single sentence, "We need to talk." Not on the phone. She drove 3 hours to my house that same day. When she walked through my front door, she looked 20 years older than the last time I had seen her. She sat on my couch, took a deep breath, and told me everything. Marcus Webb was not just my biological father. He was a man my mother had a brief affair with while my father, Richard, was deployed overseas. She got pregnant. She decided to pass me off as Richard's and never tell anyone. But that wasn't the secret that destroyed me. The secret was that Richard knew. My mother explained that when I was 2 years old, Richard confronted Marcus outside a bar in their hometown. They argued. Things got physical. Marcus fell and hit his head on a curb. He died before the ambulance arrived. Richard was charged with manslaughter but pleaded self-defense. He served 18 months in prison. My mother told me they moved to a different state when he got out, changed their phone numbers, and swore never to speak of it again. I was 34 years old and had just learned that the man who raised me killed my biological father. I felt like the floor had opened beneath my feet. I pressed my mother for more details about Marcus. Who was he? Did he have a family? Did he know about me? She hesitated, then said something that shattered my reality a second time. Marcus Webb had a wife. Her name was Diane. And Diane had a son. His name was Ethan. My half-brother. I demanded to know where they were. My mother refused to tell me, said it was too dangerous, said Diane had threatened to kill her after Marcus died. But I had the internet and a desperate need to know my own blood. It took me 4 days to find Ethan Webb. He was 36, lived in Oregon, worked as a high school science teacher, and according to his Facebook profile, had no idea I existed. I wrote him a message and deleted it a dozen times. Then one night, after too much wine, I hit send. The message was short: "I think we share the same father. My name is Lena. I just found out. I'm sorry if this is a shock." He replied within an hour. "I know who you are. I've known for years. Meet me." We met at a diner halfway between our states. I expected hostility. I expected tears. I did not expect what actually happened. Ethan walked in, sat across from me, and said, "Before you ask anything, there's something you need to see." He slid his phone across the table. On the screen was a photo of Richard Calloway, my father, the man who raised me, standing next to Diane Webb. They were holding hands. They were smiling. The photo was dated 6 months ago. I felt my blood drain. Ethan explained that after Marcus died, Diane spiraled into grief. She blamed my mother, of course, but she also blamed Richard. She stalked him for years, watched my family from a distance, learned our routines. Eventually, she decided the best revenge wasn't violence. It was seduction. She found Richard on a business trip, introduced herself under a fake name, and began an affair. She told Ethan everything. She bragged about it. She called it poetic justice. Richard, my father, had no idea he was sleeping with the widow of the man he killed. Ethan showed me more photos. Texts. Hotel receipts. The affair had been going on for 2 years. My parents were still married. My mother had no idea. I drove home in a daze. I confronted Richard the next day. I didn't tell my mother first because I didn't know how. I just walked into their house, held up the photo, and asked him one question: "Do you know who she is?" He turned gray. His knees buckled. He sat down at the kitchen table and wept like a child. He swore he didn't know. He swore Diane had told him her name was Angela. He said he never would have touched her if he had known the connection. I believed him. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. I told my mother that night. The scream she let out is something I will carry in my bones forever. She threw Richard out of the house, filed for divorce, and moved in with me for 3 months. The family I thought I had was gone. Richard is alone now, living in a small apartment in another city, trying to rebuild a relationship with me that I'm not sure I want. My mother is in therapy, struggling to forgive herself for the lie that started it all. Diane Webb was arrested for stalking and harassment. She served 6 months and is now out on probation. Ethan and I still talk, but it's complicated. He's my brother, but he's also the son of the woman who destroyed my parents' marriage. We share blood, but not much else. As for the DNA test, I keep the results in a drawer. I look at them sometimes and wonder what my life would be if I had never spat into that tube. I wouldn't know the truth. But I also wouldn't know Ethan. I wouldn't know that my father, the real one who raised me, killed a man with his bare hands. I wouldn't know that he slept with that man's widow. Some days I wish I could unlearn all of it. But you can't unring a bell. The truth has a way of unraveling everything. And once you pull that thread, you have to live with whatever falls apart. I still talk to Richard sometimes. He sends me letters. I haven't opened the last 3. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll forgive him. But every time I look in the mirror, I see pieces of Marcus Webb's face in my own, and I wonder what kind of man he really was. I'll never know. My father killed him before I ever got the chance.